Sodom and Gomorrah, Abraham and Lincoln. Actually, Abraham, it was just Abraham and Lincoln, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it's not Abraham and Lincoln.
No, it's just...
Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
That's about right.
Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, Beauty's on this side.
Cagney and Lacey.
Lacey. Oh, that's wrong, isn't it?
Van and Helsing.
I don't
No,
know.
that's one thing as well, isn't it?
Yes, Van Helsing.
Ronnie and Reggie.
They were a bad pair of twins.
They were a good pair of twins, and a bit like this pair of twins here, are they? Are they twins, really?
No.
They're not really twins, but they are competitors, particularly out there in the RC helicopter hobby. Welcome, you legends and heliheads, you choppers and stick bangers, you twizzle whizzlers and everyone else. Here in this video, we are going to be comparing the M6 and the RS6. And like most things to do with Uncle Bob, it's fairly unique because Bob has built both of these machines. This one is mine, and the opportunity, I had so much on, didn't I?
No comment.
I had a lot on, and Bob offered to build this for me. And I said to Bob, do you know what? Actually, that would be a good thing if you did build it.
No, basically what he says, yeah, at least it'll fly if you build it.
If he was to build it, and he'd already built the M6, he would have a fairly unique point of view with regards to building both machines. And that's what this video is all about, is discussing the M6 and the RS6. I honestly don't believe there is another 600 series out there that's in competition with these two. Yes, you can get the SAB 580 and so on, but that's really in its own class. These two, the OMPHobby and the Goosky, have been in competition for how long now? Quite a while,
Couple
right?
of years, isn't it?
What have we got? We've got an M1. There's an M1, isn't there?
M1, M2, M4,
Five.
F5, M6.
M6, and of course an M7. And I've just recently purchased an M7, and you can see that video up there. The Goosky, there's the S1, the S2, RS4,
RS5,
RS5, RS6, RS7. So there isn't an RS3, is there?
No, there's no
M3.
And no M3. They match.
It's one of those funny sort of sizes, I think. These two really are in definite competition, and they've brought out these helicopters pretty much at the same sort of time throughout the whole of the range of helicopters we've just mentioned there. And they have, haven't they? Within a couple of weeks.
Within a month or so.
If I believed in conspiracy theories, which I don't, I'd say they were the same company. Bob has built both of them, and so he can offer a unique perspective on building both of them. So this is a bit of a talking head stroke interview with Uncle Bob. And if you're very, very good, he'll bring out the Werthers, won't you?
If you're very, very good.
I had a Werther this morning, and I had to sit on his knee, didn't I?
My Werther's original. After all, he's someone very special too, you know.
You left a bit on my knee.
So first question, Bob. Overall, as both machines, what was your overall interpretation of building both of them in a one?
Both of them are very easy and very, very good to build. I can't fault either one the build wise. There are a couple of things on the Goosky I like better, and there's a couple of things on the M6 I like better.
So, so the component parts like the frame, the boom, the sort of quality of nuts and bolts and washers, all.
The quality of both of them is exactly the same.
And the anodised aluminium, the CNC'd aluminium for the frame, everything all
I
good
can't
there?
fault any of it.
Excellent. So you can be sure that you're going to get a quality package, whether you go for the M6 or the RS6 in the actual build. What about manuals, Bob?
The RS6 comes with a manual. The M6, I had to use the M5 manual offline because it didn't come with a manual.
Right.
That is probably because it's an early
release
that I've got.
Interesting.
It would be nice to have a manual for it. But
so no manual with the M6, but you can easily get hold of the manual download.
Yeah, I had to download the M5 manual, build it to the M5 manual, and then you just got to take into account what parts need to be longer. Most of them are stated in the M5 manual anyway, like the head. It gives you the settings for the 20mm servos, which is basically the difference between the M5 and the M6.
Right, right. Okay,
So,
interesting.
I would say the Goosky manual's a better manual out of the two.
Yep.
But that's just a personal opinion.
Okay.
Others might like to disagree with that.
All right, cool. If you had an RS5, could you go out by, say, an RS6 boom, an RS6 belt, change the size of the blades at the back there, and run that as an RS6?
Basically, yes.
With an RS6 canopy, it would work and everything
Yes.
else? Okay.
You could leave the RS5 canopy on, it still works.
Yeah. And actually, I think some people have. I think some people have done that.
And that's exactly the same goes for the M6, except for you need the servo mounts because the M5 takes miniature servos, the M6 takes standard servos.
But you can buy those?
Yes, you can buy a complete kit.
Okay,
to
cool.
Change it. Well,
So
you can when it comes out.
So I think what we can derive from that is, look, if you've got an RS5 or an M5 from OMPHobby and you want the 600 version, if this was you and I backwards, going back a few months and we had 5 versions here, we'd just probably go out and buy the kit to stretch it.
I'd buy the conversion if I wanted a 600, yes. I won't go out and buy a new kit.
Yeah, there is really no need to, and they're so close, the RS5, the RS6, the M5 and the M6.
On the M6, for instance, they say 90% of the parts are identical.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Interesting. Let's start off with the front, Bob. Canopies. What's your feedback on the M6 canopy?
I prefer the size of the M6 canopy, it's a bit bigger.
Right.
The colour scheme, well, it's what you choose, and I chose the wrong one. Fine in this type, but yesterday in the overcast sky, I could not see the helicopter.
Yeah. Are there different colours for the OMP
There's 4
M6?
different colour canopies,
Okay.
so you can get this one, you can get it same as this, but pink instead of the green. And then they do a yellow canopy and then the orange canopy, which are basically the same as the M7 canopies in colour schemes with slight differences. I think I will probably be changing this one for the yellow canopy.
Right, interesting. So a good variation of M6 canopies as a summary for you. So you've got 4 colours there. But the RS6, currently in the United Kingdom, is only available in orange, and I believe there is a purpley type canopy.
Yeah, but at the moment it's still only available in orange.
Still only in orange.
But the RS6 you can get all the spares for in the UK at the moment. The M6, nobody's got the spares.
That I bought this RS6 from the wonderful Alessio at Heli Shop. You can see a video I recently done actually dedicated to the M7 that I bought from Alessio, and you can see that up there. But as Bob says, I think most of the spares in the UK, particularly for the Goosky RS6 and probably the M6, is probably at Midland Helicopters.
At the moment, nobody's got M6 spares, not
Okay.
even Midland. But
Right.
yes, Midland have all the RS6 spares.
But with the M6 being so close to the M5, is it possible that some of those...
They haven't got the M5 spares either.
Yeah.
What we can derive from that is don't buy it today and crash it, because you won't fix it until the spares come
Don't
out.
buy it. Don't buy it and crash it, because if you do, it's going to become a
But
shelf queen.
it won't be long before, I would imagine it won't be probably another week and Midland will start having the spares in.
Yeah.
It normally takes about that time.
Yeah, I think you're right. So canopies, we prefer the M6 canopy, or Bob prefers the M6 canopy, he's built them both, and I have to agree there. The mounting system for the RS6 versus the M6, Bob, your thoughts?
The RS6, I hate the front mounting.
Yeah.
There's no reason for that. The M6, it's the same as the M7 mounting, push it over the skids, clip it to the back. Couldn't get simpler.
Yeah.
2 seconds.
Whereas with the RS6, it actually comes with
Push-on mountings at the
push-on
front,
mounts.
and you have to stretch the canopy well out to get them on the mountings.
Yeah.
I didn't like it at all.
Going back, Bob, to the central mechanics and the way in which the servos are mounted and the engine mount. What are your thoughts there?
So you've got the 3 servos straight up. They're all identical. The one on the other side's just the same. They're all in 120 degree orientations. You can't get simpler. What I mean by the engine mount is that's your centre frame coming across there, and it comes all the way underneath the motor mount there, which is there. So the screws are going through that frame and into the motor mount. You're guaranteed, unless you're an idiot, to get the motor dead square in the frame. So on this one, as I said, you've got the normal, what we would class as normal servo layout. 2 up at the front, 1 across at the back. Nothing wrong with it. It's worked on many a helicopter perfectly. Then again on the motor mount, The motor mount's just connected directly to the side frames, but it has got the 2 bolts at the back here that mount it onto the frame. I suppose there is a slight possibility you could get it out of line, but you've got to be, again, you'd have to be an idiot to do it. But there's plenty of them around. The one behind the cameras for starter.
What about the actual head? And by that I'm talking about the rotor head and the blade grip arms here, and this sort of setup here, and both of those. What's your thoughts on that?
Both. Dead easy to build, smooth as butter when you've built them. That's got a central pivot in it, this one hasn't, but they both fly brilliantly. I prefer the blade grip spacers on this only because it's the same as the M7, where you put the washer in and push a ferrule down from the top that goes into the washer and holds it in place. That one's got basic washers on that you have to hold the wash on the blade and try and line everything up. Yeah. This is by far the better way. Yeah.
Let's talk about where the rear tail servo is mounted first of all, because they're different on both machines, right?
Yeah, the M6 is same as the M7. You can't fault the way it's mounted there. I mean, the M7 I like the way they did it on the M7. And it's exactly the same. Can't fault it. The RS mount is more, to put it simple, old school.
Yep.
Where it's mounted to one side frame.
Yeah.
Whereas the M6 is mounted between the 2 side frames. That's mounted to one side frame that way on. Again, there's no right or wrong way. Neither way is better than the other.
Yeah.
They both do the job more than adequately.
The tail push rod, going back from the servo to the tail assembly.
I prefer the 2 guides on the M6 to the 1 guide on the RS6.
Yep.
That's just a personal preference.
Tail assembly in general terms.
M6 is better.
Okay, why is that?
Right, you've got that part in the middle with this bracket goes round it. You can see down there's a spacer. Well, that spacer is sunk into that bracket, top and bottom. So you've got to get that spacer, which is loose, into the bracket and onto that shaft. Luckily, as I said, my top spacer stuck itself in there with a bit of oil that was still on there, but it was still very, very tight to get that over the shaft. But once it's on there, it's a good system. This has got none of that. It's just all simple, straightforward. Everything just fits.
Yeah.
That's the only fault.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's nothing to choose between the actual operation of the tails.
Yeah.
It's down to works on the sub idea. This works on, well, the old sub idea. If you put it that way.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about blades. Do you get blades with the M6 kit?
I brought this as a kit with blades, and it comes with ultimate 610s and ultimate tail blades.
Yep.
You can buy it with or without blades. You
Yep.
can buy the kit with blades, or you can buy the kit without blades.
Yeah.
I like the ultimate blades, so I brought it with the ultimate 610s.
Now, I bought this as a kit. It didn't come with blades, but I fitted it with the ultimate 610s. I'm not sure actually if you can get the RS6 with blades, and if you did, I think it would come with ultimate 610s.
I believe you're supposed to be able to get. I don't know whether it's out yet, but you are, and it would come with. I think it comes with 580 blades actually. Yeah,
and this is fitted with SAB 580 blades at the minute, and it flies wonderfully on that. Powertrain, Bob, at the minute I'm flying 6S with the RS6 with an 1100 kV motor and a 120 amp ESC. Flies wonderfully. I get plenty of time out of it with the 580 blades. I can fit 610 blades, but this I believe can also fly 12S like the M6 can as well.
Yeah, I'm running this on 12S with a 550 motor, and it flies absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
But having flown them both, the 6S version on that flies really wonderful as well.
Yeah. So the key thing to take away from that is, look, you can set it up as 6S or 12S for the RS6 or for the M6. In fact, I think in the manual for the RS6, it assumes that you're flying 12S,
yes.
I think.
The manual only shows you, it recommends a 540 motor, which would be a 12S setup.
Yeah, right. And as I said, you know, this is 6,000 milliamps battery.
540 kV, not a 540 size.
540 size, 540 kV. Wonderful. Right, final thoughts then, Bob, from you on the M6 and RS6 helicopters. Your overall thoughts on them both?
Whichever you decided to buy, if you brought one, you'd be pleased with either of them.
That's a good way to end this video. It's a bit like, no matter what day I choose to be with you, Bob, it's a good day.
The RS6 flies super smooth. The M6, being a bit heavy with the 12S, still flies very smooth. But it did surprise me how smooth and powerful the Goosky RS6 was with only 6S in.
Wonderful. There we go. Right, I hope that was useful. There will be some videos of Bob flying the M6 and myself obviously flying the RS6. I've got to say I'm really massively super pleased with the RS6 and the way in which it flies, and I know you are with the M6, right? Like you said, they both fly really well, really well. Right, I think that's it. Thanks very much for joining us. Remember, it's all about the journey. Unfortunately, mine has in with it.
Yeah, and you think that's unfortunate for you.
See you later, legends. Take care. Bye bye. I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll